Hi, guys. It's Anne and Sammy, and we're here today for Read On. And we're going to read part of chapter 1 from Look What the Wind Blew In. I might read all of it. We'll see how I do. And I'm trying to decide if I should make these read-ons 5 minutes long or 10 minutes long. And so let's try this and see. And, we'll determine as we go. So, chapter 1 from Look What the Wind Blew In. Sammy, are you ready? He's ready. Mal viento, an evil wind that can cause sickness or death. It's a curse. Angelica Garcia frowned at her father over the beam of her flashlight, wondering if the heat had fried his brain. It's not a curse, Dad. Go over it again, Gatita. And this time use plain old English. Juan Garcia reached out and gently tweaked the tip of her nose. Not all of us speak Mayan in our sleep. Angelica wiped away the sweat trailing down her cheek. She tilted the flashlight beam slightly away from the temple wall, grazing the surface so the shadows added depth to the blocks of Maya glyphs. She pointed at the first set. This shows Yum Camil, the Lord of Death. It says he rode in on the wind with a traveler. She moved to the next. Here, the king is performing a sacrificial ceremony, offering his blood for the lives of his people. And in this one, Yum Camil has turned his back on the king's sacrifice and is devouring the village. What about that last set? Juan asked. It shows the Lord of Death crouching inside a temple. It says he waits. Waits for what? It doesn't show. Sounds like a curse to me. Angelica aimed the flashlight at her father. He stared back at her, all traces of his usual grin absent. His silver-haired sideburns glistened with sweat. She shook her head. He couldn't be serious. You're losing it. She pointed the beam back at the first glyph set. Look here. The Lord of Death rode in on the wind with the traveler. That means the proof we need is at this site. I just have to find it. She skimmed her fingers over the warm, chiseled stone and smiled at him. I knew Mom was right. I still think it's a curse, he said, mopping his brow with a handkerchief. You shouldn't have read it aloud. She growled in her throat. After almost 4 decades of digging in tombs and temples throughout the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Guatemala, and Belize, how could he still believe in curses? Be serious, Dad. That death waiting glyph is just the Maya equivalent of a ghost story. He lifted his eyebrows. What makes you so certain it's not a curse? Angelica scrubbed her hand down her face. She couldn't believe they were even having this discussion. Listen, child, Juan started. I'm almost 35 now, Dad. Maybe so, but I've been on this earth in temples just like this one a lot longer than you have. It's time you... She crossed her arms over her chest, bracing herself for the usual I'm your father speech. He paused, glancing down at her arms, then back up into her face. And now you're giving me that look. He snorted. I don't know why I try to tell you anything. You never listen anyway. One of these days, you're going to learn that I'm almost always right. Almost being the key word there. Her grins took the sting out of her words. Juan chuckled, patting her on the head. You're getting more and more like your mother every day. Tilting her head, she batted her eyelashes several times. You mean intelligent and beautiful? I'll be an obstinate. He pointed at the carvings on the wall. Whether you like it or not, this curse could mean trouble. Angelica heard a nervous-sounding groan from the shadows behind her father. She shined the flashlight over Juan's shoulder into the wide eyes of Esteban, a 19-year-old Maya boy from a nearby village who had worked for her off and on over the last few years. He must have finished recording the artifacts in the other chamber and slipped into the room without her hearing him. Crap, she said under her breath. The last thing she needed right now were rumors spreading through the camp that an ancient curse had come back to life. She turned back to Juan. Dad, it's not a curse. Clearing her throat, she glanced pointedly toward her Maya crew member. It's merely an artist showing a grim vision of the future. Call it what it is, Gatita. It's a curse warning whoever sees it that death is waiting for its next meal, Juan argued. Esteban visibly shivered. Are we its next meal? This was going from not good to really, really bad in seconds. Can we talk about this back in my tent? Alone? Juan stared at the glyphs and rubbed the back of his neck. If only Marianne were here. If Mom were here, she'd say you always were more superstitious than logical. Angelica grabbed her father's arm. It was going to take physical persuasion to get him to leave the temple.